Okay, track's in and home. The note changes when the track bottoms out. And as long as it looks like you've got it all the way down, that'll be sufficient. I'll show you a little trick for taking up the few micron slack that you might have. Okay, greasing up the wheel bearings. Actually, let's do that. Nice bit of grease. Spin the bearing round as you do it. Cover it all. You haven't got to go too mad, but a nice gloopy covering, because most of the time some of the oil from the hubs, grease from the hubs, ends up getting in there and helping them out. Right, okay. Let me have a look down here. That goes in the hole like that. Put it in, lovely. New seal. Just run some fingers around there. Don't necessarily need to. I should mention that cleanliness is of the utmost when you're doing this. Don't try and do it in the sand on the beach or the desert. There's the new seal. This bit faces outwards. Put that in the hole. If you're lucky, it'll push in with your hands. Well, I suppose that's not really lucky, because you want to be a bit tighter than that. But once again, the old track over the top. Chase it in, and that's it. Make sure it's level. That one's not. The side's got to go down a bit more. If you use the old track, it will stop you cutting the rubber with a, I don't know what else you would use, a screwdriver or a chisel. That's it. Beautiful. Use a little bit of that grease on the inside of the seal. Front bearing's easy, it just pushes in the hole, so we'll do the same thing, and we'll stick it back on the car, and we'll have a quick recap of the fitting it back up procedure. Back in a sec. Right, okay, it's ready to go back on. Hub and disc, and your bearing won't fall out the back because your seal's holding it in place. Put some grease around the your collar at the back where the oil seal runs on, and when you put it on nice and carefully so you don't pinch the rubber seal, damage it. Right, okay, that's that. Lovely. Back on. Okay, the reverse order is your collar with the little pin, so slides in there over the groove, whack that up, then you put a nut on, wind the nut up, buy the box spanner if you need to, it's only about a 5 or a 10, brilliant tool. Don't use hammer and chisel on them hub nuts, it is bad news. Sooner or later you'll be changing them. Right, okay, that's that. Now what we do is tighten it up with the pump pliers a little bit. Don't wind it right up, just put a nice sensible pressure on it, and then it's only to seat the track properly, just to double check, so that after you put it all back together and put your lock tab on, what we sometimes do if we're not 100% sure is just bang the hub. That has freed up slightly actually, so the few microns play in the track that weren't necessarily taken up are now. So slacken that bag off. It's actually just loosened up to finger tight now. Just ever so gently, just nip it. You want it just tight enough to take any play that you can feel, top to bottom rocking, obviously, not the hub. If you wind that bolt back in, the top, so your hub's tight, so it as it's tight, you can rock that top to bottom. Make sure there's no play and no, it spins to a halt on its own, it doesn't stop dead. Over tightening the wheel bearing will create lots of heat, cook the grease, destroy the bearing very quickly. So just take up enough so there's no play, and that's perfectly acceptable for MOT standards and service standards. Right, okay, next job. I didn't actually get a new, I didn't actually plan ahead and get a new one of them. Wasn't expecting it to be disintegrated, but that now goes over there. Alright, it's just got enough to grip. Anyway, come in and have a close look. Come in and have a look. The flats on the nut, on the locking tab, get bent over the flat surface on the nut to stop it from unwinding, which is why you need the tag on that properly. If it is good, you can use the old one. I'm going to use this one because we're doing a DVD on the whole axle next week. Right, okay, hub on, locking tab on, wind the other nut on the top, and then get a chisel in there, bend the lip up over the flat, and that's it, that's your wheel bearing done. I will go and get some tissue to clean it up, and we'll move on with the next bit, back in a second. Right, okay, nearly there. So, with your locking washer, buy a new one, order one up when you order the wheel bearing, new locking tab, new gasket with your wheel bearing, new rear seal. One tab gets bent on the inner nut and one tab gets bent out on the outer nut. Put your new gasket on and then put some silicone on it because it's a Land Rover. A bit of clear silicone, it's always the best stuff to use. Doesn't look anywhere near as bad. Stick that back on. Stick your 5 nuts back in there and your washer, your spacers, and then you circle it back on that. That's that done, simple, and your dust cap. Take the nut back out of your top swivel housing pin. Side cutters for your brake caliper. Cut your circlip, get a good grip on it so you don't drop it, don't smash up your rip off your hose. When you hook your bracket back in, this bit hooks into the back of the backing plate. So, back over the pads, hook it into the backing plate, get into the backing plate, line up your bolts ready to go back in, and pretty much jobs are good. Right, so I'll wind them up, then 4 bolts back in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that'll be it, back in a second. Easy job. Right, they're all bolted back up, nice and tight, and then cap back on. One little thing, if ever you're messing about with your brakes, putting your pads in or whatever, that amount of space there will be more than one pump to get the brake pedal back up. So first thing you do before you drive off is pump the brakes up so the pistons come back out, because I promise you it will make the old stomach come up if you're not expecting it. Right, add your name and email to the website. Got loads more stuff coming up this year. Land Rovers, Range Rovers, Discoveries, the lot. You've got it all coming up. Have a look at the websites, and if you've got a Land Rover, come out to Spain, come have an holiday. See you on the next clip.
Thank you for watching.